Welcome to my class. It's another day to stay with. I am teacher Dominga, your facilitator for today's math lesson. I hope you will enjoy and learn much from this video. In this lesson, you are expected to infer and interpret data presented in a pictograph without and with scales. Solve routine and non-routine problems using data presented in a pictograph without and with scales. But before we proceed to our new lesson, let us check what you already know about interpreting data presented in a pictograph. Are you ready? Bring out your paper and pencil.
Now, look at the pictograph of the number of books borrowed by the grade 2 pupils in the library from first week to fourth week and answer the questions that follow. We have weeks in the first column and number of books in the second column. Remember that one book represents 10 books. Number 1. What does one book stand for? You are right. One book stands for 10 books. Number 2. Write the number of books they borrowed in each week. You are correct if your answers are 20 books on the first week, 30 books on the second week, 50 books on the third week, and 30 books on the fourth week. Number 3. Which week did they borrow the most number of books? Very good. They borrowed the greatest number of books in the third week. Number 4. Which week did they borrow the least number of books? Oh yes, they borrowed the least number of books in the first week. Number 5. Which 2 weeks have the same number of books borrowed? You've got it! Second week and fourth week have the same number of books borrowed. Number 6. How many books did the grade 2 pupils borrow in all? Perfect! The grade 2 pupils borrowed 130 books in all.
In your previous lessons, you learned that finding the area is the number of square units occupied by any flat surface. Let us answer the activity below to deepen more your knowledge on area.
Here is an example. The area of this figure is equal to 6 square units. Now, give the area of the following figures. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. You made it right if your answers are the following. The area of number 1 is 5 square units. The area of number 2 is 5 square units also. Number 3, the area is 8 square units. And number 4, the area is 7 square units.
Come on, children! Let's explore more. Here is a story of 3 sisters who went to gather sayote in their garden. Let's find out who gathered the most.
Here is the sayote garden. Anna, Elsa, and Susan went to the garden to harvest sayote. Anna harvested 5 kilos. Elsa harvested 10 kilos. And Susan harvested 15 kilos. Let us write the number of sayote in a group to form a data in the sayote farm. This is the data. Looking at the table, who gathered the most? What can you say about the three sisters? Yes, they may be helpful. What else? They may also be industrious. How about you? Do you also help your parents?
This data can also be represented by drawing a picture to show information collected. It is called a pictograph. We are going to discuss this further in the next pages of our module. You have a lot of activities to work to help you master inferring and interpreting data presented in a pictograph without and with scales.
Table A shows the pictograph of harvested sayote in kilograms without scales. While Table B shows the pictograph of harvested sayote in kilograms with scales, wherein 1 sayote represents 5 kilos. To understand further, here are the parts of a pictograph. Number 1 is the title. This tells us what a pictograph is about. The title Harvested Sayote in Kilograms tells us that the pictograph is about the number of sayote harvested in kilograms. Number 2 is the picture. This tells us the given numbers of objects. Number 3 is the label. This tells us what kind of data is shown. The label gives us information about who collected the sayote. Number 4 is the scale. This is a set of numbers that help to measure or quantify objects. A scale on the graph shows the way the numbers or pictures are used in data. There are pictographs that do not have scale. The scale tells us that each sayote picture is equal to 5 kilos. Let's try to study the pictograph and solve the problem using the data presented in a pictograph without scales. How many kilos of sayote were harvested by Anna? Anna harvested 5 kilos of sayote. How did we do that? We counted the sayote one by one. How many kilos of sayote were harvested by Elsa? Elsa harvested 10 kilos of sayote. And how did we get the answer? We counted the sayote one by 1. How many kilos of sayote were harvested by Susan? Susan harvested 15 kilos of sayote. How did we arrive at the answer? We counted the sayote one by one. How many kilos of sayote were harvested in all? They harvested 30 kilos of sayote in all. So, we counted the sayote harvested by all the girls by ones. Let's try to study the pictograph and solve the problem using the data presented in a pictograph with scales. By looking at the scale, Anna harvested 1 sayote. The scale shows that 1 sayote represents 5 kilos. To get the answer, we multiply 1 by 5. 1 times 5 kilos is equal to 5 kilos. Elsa harvested 2 sayote. The scale shows that 1 sayote represents 5 kilos. To get the answer, we multiply 2 by 5. 2 times 5 kilos is equal to 10 kilos. Another way is to add. 5 plus 5 equals 10. Susan harvested 3 sayote. To get the answer, we multiply 3 by 5. 3 times 5 kilos is equal to 15 kilos. Another way is to add. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is equal to 15 kilos. How many kilos of sayote were harvested in all? They harvested 30 kilos of sayote in all. To get the answer, we multiply 6. So, 1 for Anna, 2 for Elsa, and 3 for Susan by 5. And 1 sayote is equal to 5 kilos. Therefore, 6 times 5 is equal to 30. Another way is to add. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is equal to 30.
Come on, children, let's explore. You have a lot of activities to work to help you master inferring and interpreting data presented in a pictograph without and with scales. Wait, there's more. You will learn more of the pictograph as you proceed.
Look at the pictograph and answer the questions asked. The pictograph shows the kilos of strawberries sold by Mark in a week. So, the first column shows the days of the week, and the second column shows the kilos of strawberry. Take note that 1 strawberry represents 5 kilos. Here are the questions asked. Number 1. How many kilos of strawberries does each represent? Number 2. On which day did Mark sell the most kilos of strawberries? Number 3. On which day did Mark sell the least kilos of strawberries? Number 4. How many kilos of strawberries did Mark sell on Thursday? And number 5. What was the total kilos of strawberries sold by Mark? You're exactly right if your answers are number 1. Each strawberry represents 5 strawberries. Number 2. Mark sold the most kilos of strawberries on Sunday. Number 3. Mark sold the least kilos of strawberries on Wednesday. Number 4. Mark sold 10 strawberries on Thursday. And number 5. The total kilos of strawberries sold by Mark is 105 strawberries.
Well done! Can you now state how important a pictograph is?
In this lesson, you learned the following. Number 1. A pictograph or pictograph uses pictures to show information collected. We can easily interpret the data if they are presented in a pictograph or in tabular form. Number 2. We need to use scales or legends for better presentation of a pictograph with a larger data. Number 3. We can solve routine problem, which is a type of problem in which there is an immediate solution and no hidden questions, and non-routine problem, which is any complex problem which can be oftentimes solved in many ways using data presented in a pictograph without and with scale. Can you do this now? Supply the answer on the line on the pictograph. The pictograph shows the number of storybooks read by 5 pupils in a particular month. This time, read and answer the questions that follow. Number 1. Who read the most number of storybooks? Number 2. Who read only 4 storybooks? Number 3. Mabel read how many storybooks? Number 4. Who read the least number of storybooks? And number 5. The 5 pupils read a total of how many storybooks? Here is the correct answer. Number 1. Nelia read the most number of storybooks. Number 2. Sharon read only 4 storybooks. Number 3. Mabel read 6 storybooks. Number 4. Claire read the least number of storybooks. Number 5. The 5 pupils read a total of 30 storybooks. You figured it all out.
Yay! You're about to finish the lesson.
Look at the pictograph that shows result of a survey to find out the favorite vegetables of grade 2 pupils. Then choose the letter of the correct answer and write it on the blank. The questions are: number 1, how many children are involved in the survey? Number 2, how many children does each learner represent? Number 3, what is the most liked vegetable? Number 4, what is the least liked vegetable? And number 5, how many children like carrots? Answer these on your paper and submit next meeting.
Congratulations! You made it! For your additional activity, study the scores of pupils in a math test using Pictograph, then answer what is asked.
6 girls attended math tests. The table shows the names and the scores. The stars represents the score, and each star means 1 point. You may now answer the questions by yourself. Number 1, who got 10? Number 2, what is the score of Emmy? Number 3, what is the lowest score? Number 4, how many got 9? Number 5, what is the highest score? Ask help from your facilitator to help you check your work. You certainly did well today.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.